the burden which the prophet Habakkuk saw. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and you will not hear? Even cry out to you violence, and you will not save. Chapter 2, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, somebody say, wait for it. Because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Then Reverend Hall's favorite verse, number 4, I guess I'll sneak that in. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Hallelujah. It will surely come. It will surely come. That's what I want to talk about. It will surely come. I was looking for some Clay Evans song that I could tag to this. The closest one I could find is one he would say every now and then by way of song when you got to a breaking point in your life and didn't know what to do or where to go. He wrote a song that said, reach beyond the break and hold on. Reach beyond the break and hold on. Hallelujah. Many people live with sometimes utopic views that everything will go well every day of your life. I know I'm not talking to them people right now, because I can look at your face and the shaking of your head to come to understand that you figured that wasn't true a long time ago. I got young people I'm looking at out there shaking their head to come to find out that in the words of that great poet Hughes, that says, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Langston says it's got cracks and it holes in it. And he begins to describe the challenges of life. Every round of your life may or may not go higher and higher. But sometimes it does seem harder and harder. The American premise is a nation that basically declared that we could take charge of our own situation and declare our own destiny. William Henry Invictus said, I am the master of my fate and the captain of my soul. However, I like Habakkuk raised the question, is destiny really in your hands? Psalm 100 says, know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that made us and not we ourselves, but sometimes we live like we made ourselves. And sometimes we live as if we made God and not God made us. For we act as if God does what we tell him to do, instead of coming to understand that a sovereign God suggests he does what he wants to do, when he wants to do it. Can I get a witness here this morning? And how he wants to do it. Different seasons come into our lives like the changes of nature. And sometimes nature can change itself all in one day. Sometimes you don't have to wait 3 months for a different season to come. Fall to winter, winter to spring, spring to summer. You can get all 4 seasons in Detroit, amen, in one day. And that's how sometimes life can be. You can wake up in the morning and it feels like springtime. You can take a shower and go through and everything is looking good. Check your bank account, everything is nice. Amen. Look around and everybody's good and it feels like summertime. Hallelujah. Go to work and start dealing with angry, crazy people. Amen. It seems like the weather's changing, but you hang on in the fall season. And then before you get back home, all hell done broke loose. And you got an ice storm, a winter storm, and the nighttime of your soul is kicked in before you get back in that bed. Anybody ever had experience where it seemed like everything changed all at once? Sometimes things can go oh so right. Then it don't take long, Mother Nellie, for it to go oh so wrong. And one of the hardest things that I find sometimes is in the midst of all of that as a Christian is to learn how to figure God out. You know, I know I've got upper level degrees and I know how to talk theologically and I know I can talk intelligently. But sometimes I want to talk a little hood to God and say, God, where you at? Can I talk hood to God sometimes? Because when you get deep, you don't have time to get rid of, but you don't even have time to say, where are you? Where you at seems to be a little bit more clear. That's where Habakkuk is. He's in one of them where you at moments. Every prophet has a burden. Every prophet has a challenge. You go back and look at Isaiah, Jeremiah, hallelujah, Nahum, all of those who come before Zephaniah, Malachi. Y'all really don't like Malachi's burden. I just got through going through November harvest month. Some of y'all happy because I didn't say one word about Malachi, but the year ain't out yet. Don't think he can't get in there. Amen. But when we get Malachi's burden about how people rob God in tithes and offerings, that was his burden. But his burden that he spoke in chapter 3 actually started in chapter 1 when he said it didn't really start with your tithes and offering. It started when you started playing God cheap. When he said a son deserves honor and a worker deserves to obey his employer. But God says, where's my honor? Where's my? He says, when you learn to dishonor me, then he said at some point it's going to trickle down on you. Most of us don't understand that a dishonoring of God ultimately hurts our own life. The reason why we are supposed to obey even his commandments and do good is not for God to get good. God's already good. But we obey God's word and God's ways and God's laws. It protects your life. You get better. You do better. You live better. This is a word now from Habakkuk, whose burden is to ask God a question. It's the question is raised in verse 2 of chapter 1. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and you will not hear me? I may not be talking to but about 50 of y'all, but is there anybody ever who's gotten to that posture where you either said it, thought it, or felt it? Lord, how long is it going to take for you to hear my prayer? Is there anybody here? I'm asking for hands this morning. I just want to know if I'm not here by myself. Come on, I need 99 people. I'll make 100. Is there anybody here that's ever had to pray? How long? How long? How long? I thought I could cry tonight and you fix it in the morning. I heard weeping may endure for a night, but I'm looking for joy in the morning. But he didn't say which morning. See, he didn't say tomorrow morning. He didn't say the next morning. He just said in the morning. In the morning. You have to learn to wait on God's timing. Habakkuk was concerned not about a personal challenge. He was not concerned about stuff that was happening at his house. Or wanted to know. He was looking at the violence in the land. Like he was preaching, amen, in the land in which we're living in right now. 7 shootings and killings in one weekend. Hallelujah. And then another weekend of violence. People seem to be on the spree like they done lost their mind. Then I heard somebody this morning, I don't know why they want to start out the morning with me with bad news calling. I was talking, and they said, hey, did you hear about the 14-year-old girl who went to go and meet up with some 21-year-old girl? And then the 14-year-old girl tried to rob the 21-year-old girl. And then she got hit, and then the 21-year-old pulled out her gun and shot her. And then she shot, I say, 14 and 21 girls shooting? Over nothing? Violence. They were watching this movie called Friday during the Thanksgiving experience. You know, we used to watch old movies. I was watching Mulan and Life. Those are the two we normally watch with the kids and my brother, who's a lifelong lifer. But some kind of way, somebody put Friday on. And John Witherspoon, God rest his soul, amen, was in there. And he was telling Ice Cube at a part of the movie, when Ice Cube was at a point when he was getting ready to get back at Debo. I think that's his name. Amen. I need to ask my resident movie goer over here, Kelvin, amen. But Debo had been bothering everybody, and he was a bully in the community. And Ice Cube pulled out his gun and had it on him, and Debo said, you better know how to use it. And as he was in the process of getting ready to shoot, John Witherspoon whispered to him and said to him, boy, I always taught you. And he went back in his mind and said, you can't resolve your issues with that level of violence, even though he may deserve it. And he could hear his father say, give me the gun. And he gave it to him, and they resolved the issue with fisticuffs and just battling it out. Because at least in those days, you could fight it out and wake up in the morning. Y'all missed what I just said. He said, even if I get whooped, he says, you're going to know you've been in a fight. As it turned out, Debo gave up on him too early because he thought he was down, but somebody needs to know just because you're down don't mean you're out. He turned his back on him like the devil does on a good Christian, but he got back up, got back in it, and at the end he win, but sometimes it seems like it's a long time. But you got to learn that even when life don't fight fair with you, you got to learn how to fight God's way. Habakkuk was looking at all of this, and he said, Lord, all I know to do is preach. All I know to do is to cry out, because while everybody else wants to be able to gloss over what's happening in the land and give a bunch of be happy tunes in their churches and talking as if everything is going well, and they looking with this triumphal Trumpism that seems to be popping up in everybody's church, he says, I need to say, I see violence. I see trouble. I see people who are headed to hell in a handbasket. And it doesn't seem like you care. How long, God, will you let people sit in high offices and lie every day and you would not save? How long, God, will you let people defy constitutional injunctions and separations of powers and duties to hold things together and watch a nation unravel at its core? How long will you allow people to live as if there is no tomorrow? and to begin to turn their back on you as if there is no God. How long? He goes on this litany. And if you read through chapter 1, you will find out the levels of his burden. But I didn't want to get too caught up in that. I was already fighting over, amen, borderline being depressed over Papa. I said, I can't preach chapter 1 today. I'll just read 2 verses and let me get on over to chapter 2. Because chapter 2 gives us how he decides, watch this, to answer himself. You see, sometimes you can talk to God and it's if like it's a monologue. A monologue means you're the only one talking. You ever talk to God like Job and talk about what's going on and God don't talk back to you? You do know when you read the story of Job that you don't hear God talking to Job for a whole bunch of chapters. Oh, God is talking in the text, but we get the privilege of seeing that he was talking to Satan. Come on, talk to me here. He was having a heavenly conversation with the one who was tormenting him. Job didn't know God was talking. I'm trying to help somebody understand something. Job didn't know God was having a conversation. Job didn't know he was being protected with a hedge. Job didn't know that God told Satan, you can't touch his soul. Job didn't know that God says, I won't let you go so far. Job didn't know that he was under the watchful eye of God every step of the way. All Job knew was all hell was broken loose in his life. And God was silent. God didn't say nothing, Claveria, for a whole bunch of chapters. And when he did speak, he didn't say, Job, hang in there. Job, hold on. He didn't say, Job, you know, it's going to be all right. I mean, no, when he did speak, his first question was, Linda, Job, where were you? Where were you when I put the sun in the sky and it ain't moved from where I put it? Still situated miles away, and I put it in a place where as the earth rotates on its axis, you know, they thought the sun rose and fell, but the sun ain't going nowhere. Amen. As the world turns. Come talk about, I wish I had some soap opera fans in here. But as it turns, I fixed it so that, if it came any closer to the sun, you'd burn up to death. If it moved on its axis any farther away, you'd freeze to death. But I turn it so you get night and day because I got a gaseous ball called the moon, a lunar looking glass that looks on the side so you can see at night. Where were you, Job, when I put daffodils like stars, planets in the earth and universe, and all you talking is from one planet, but I got a big solar system out there, and I got the whole world and the cosmos in my hand. Job, where are you? Who you talking to, Job? I understand your problem seems big to you, but Job, I'm still in the same place I've always been in. I'm still the same God I always was. And he even would say to those who are experiencing loss of life and going through challenges, even during this holiday season, he said, I'm in the same place I was when your loved one died, when my son died. And I didn't stop the death. God does answer. Sometimes it seems like he takes a long time. And that's what this Advent season sets off and means for some people, because Advent means to expect. It means to anticipate. But sometimes we look at this like, you know, a child at Christmas waiting on a toy. You know, excited because, you know, you have the ability to see, you know, packages in the closet. You know, back in the days when we got past Santa Claus, because we knew he wasn't coming in our neighborhood, even if there was one. Y'all didn't know where I lived, amen. But back before they gentrified Brownsville, before they fixed it up, I mean, we live right down the street from 4120. I know Santa Claus wasn't coming over there. Amen. I'm right between Blackstone Rangers and Gangster Disciples, and the Thor boys was all around us. And if he had some presence, he wasn't going to make it off that block. But I recall my first experience playing, me and my brothers with a ball, and it rolled in my parents' bedroom, and they were gone. And as I was looking around for it, I crawled up in their closet. And when I crawled up in their closet and looked up, I happened to look up and saw packages, come on, in the closet, behind the clothes up on the shelf, where they had hid all the Christmas presents. Y'all missed something here. I'm just saying. I found out who Santa Claus was that year. But for some reason, I became a child of not only positive experience, but mama didn't have to tell me to sweep the floor. She didn't have to tell me to make the bed. She didn't have to tell me to do nothing. I mean, I was just as pleasant. I was in the kitchen hugging on her leg and helping her cook. She said, boy, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm just smiling because I saw my name on one of them packages. Y'all missing what I'm saying. When you can see something, it gives you little hope to hang in there even though you ain't got it yet. I'm preaching to myself because ain't nobody with me on this. I said when you see something, it gives you a little something that makes you feel better. And go, but what happens when you can't see nothing? What happens when you don't know if there is going to be a tomorrow? Habakkuk is preaching in a vacuum where he has no evidence that things are going to change. So here's what happens. Y'all waited long enough. Here it is. He says, since I can't change my circumstances, I'll just change me. Oh, listen. He says, since I can't change the violence in the land, I can't change the wickedness of the world, I can't change how crazy things seem to get, I can't change the fact that God ain't answered me yet. He says, I tell you what I'll do. And that's where chapter 2 comes in. He says, and it starts, I will. That's a word of volition. He says, I will stand my watch. Are you there with me? And when he says this, I will stand my watch, it's an act of faith. It's an act of being able to say, even though I don't have no reason to do this, he says, I'm going to exercise my prerogative. My prerogative, he says, is a choice I can make. Choice is primal or first. Your choice sets up your direction. Your choice, watch this, is not the road. The road is already set. But it decides whether or not you're going to drive on it or not. I'm trying to help you to kind of see how you don't make the way happen when you pray. The way's already made. But when you pray and pray right, you make up your mind that whatever road I believe God has already laid for me, I'm going to ride on it and see what the end's going to be. God ain't asked you to make no highways. He ain't asked you to create no bridges. He didn't ask you to build no bridges. He's not asking you to make no difference. He didn't ask you even to make your destination. He just asked you to make up your mind to get your crazy butt in the car and keep trusting me and keep driving until you see a sign that sets you on the right road. Have you ever been on a road and you wasn't sure if you were going in the right? I'm talking about before Waze. I'm talking about before Siri. I'm talking about before GPS. I'm talking about the days you had to pull over, find a gas station, and get a map and turn that sucker 4 or 5 different ways and ask some crazy farmer, am I going the right way? I'm talking about when you didn't know which way you were going, and in some cases you couldn't find a gas station. You just had to keep driving and had to believe, even in the dark, I think I'm going in the right way. You got to make up in your mind when you're driving through tough terrain and crazy situations and death of loved ones, and people don't want to understand you, and you live in a house where everybody crazy but you. You need to be able to say, I will. Because whatever affects me ain't going to infect me. I will. Whatever's happened around me, I'm not going to let it get inside of me. I will. Who's going to trust God? I will. Who's going to hang in there? I will. Who's going to keep coming to church? I will. Who's going to keep praising the Lord? I will. Who's going to keep having faith in God? I will. Who's going to give God the best you got? Oh, I wish I had a few more 8 o'clock I wills out there. Habakkuk says, no matter what y'all decide to do. Chapter 2 comes after chapter 1. He's complaining in chapter 1. He's talking about his circumstances in chapter 1. But in chapter 2, he changes positions. And he moves to a posture that says, I'm going to change my prerogative. My prerogative. You know that word right there. Some of y'all was thinking it anyway, so I just thought I'd put it in there. Come on, you little Bobby Brown fan. At some point, you need to know I got a choice. Every now and then, people will say a word of encouragement, something like, hang in there, keep looking up, all that kind of stuff, And then people might respond, I ain't got no choice. And I say, yes, you do. It just ain't a good one, but you got one. The alternatives may not be as well, but you got one. You don't have to keep holding on. You can let go. You ain't got to keep looking up. You can fall down. You ain't got to hang in there. You can just drop dead. I'm just saying there's a whole lot of, but at some point, you've got to exercise a choice, because no choice is a choice. Ask folk who didn't vote in the last election. When you decide not to make a choice, look at what you got. Choice is all you got, but it's all you need. Choice is the only thing that God is not going to take from you. Watch this, Dorothy. Neither will he inflict his geovistic sovereign powers over your choice. God is the only one that made everything, including us, and then allows us to choose him. Doesn't make us. But not only for salvation, but every day of your life when you wake up, he doesn't make you choose him. You got to choose him. You got to make up in your mind to follow him. You got to come to your senses and say, while I got choice, listen, I don't care how many years you've been saved. Every day of your life, you still got to choose God. He's not going to inflict his will on you. If Satan had his way, hallelujah, he'd make you do a whole bunch of stuff. And some folks say, yeah, he is. No, he ain't. The devil made me do it. It's good old Flip Wilson comedy. Some of y'all remember old Flip. Hey, man, I'm telling my age, Tyke. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Some of y'all remember old Geraldine, his alter ego. Long before Medea ever came on the scene. Amen. We had a Flip Wilson with Geraldine. And Geraldine would come on, and whenever she did something, she'd look at the devil made me do it. Well, that's good comedy, but Dr. Ray, that's bad theology, because the devil can't make you do nothing. God says, I'm not going to make you choose me, and I'm not going to let the devil make you do anything. You choose to do it. He can tempt you, Y'all missed what I just said. I said he can tempt you, but the choice is always yours. The Bible doesn't say yield not to temptation, for temptation is sin. I mean, the songwriter said, for yielding, that is choosing, is sin. So choice is always yours. And the first thing that he says to us, somebody say, change your posture. That's what you got to do if you're going to deal with life's circumstances. You can't change what's happening in the atmosphere. You can't change what's happening in the world, but change your posture. He says, I'm going to stop laying down, fussing. I'm going to set my course and my face on the course that's already set. You can choose the train you ride, but the track is already laid. Stopping or slowing down doesn't change your direction. And sometimes you're not going as fast as you often does. But even if you got to slow down every now and then, it seems like sometimes you got to pull over every now and then, whatever you do, just don't get off and turn around. That's what I'm trying to tell somebody. Because I got about 20 of y'all who didn't just got off, pulled off, got on the ramp, flipped over, and you on your way back. I'm not asking you, I didn't say nothing about what you on your way back from. You got your own applications. I ain't got time to give you one. But some of you have quietly left. People still talking to you, and they think y'all going in the same direction. But, baby, you done flipped over, and you on your way back to where you started. Some of you on your way back to your mama's house, and they think you on your way to your next anniversary. You got to be careful with some people because they done changed their mind. And you change your mind before you change the other part of you. Amen. All right. Secondly, check your perspective. Somebody say, check your perspective. Not only does he say, I will, but he says, I will stand upon my watch. This perspective gives us an insight that is intriguing to me, because this minor prophet with this major word for those who have impatience waiting on God dares to say that I will stand my watch and set myself. Watch this, look at it closely. He says, I will set myself up. And this is an interesting thing. He says, upon the tower. This word of perspective means I've got to let my thinking get higher than it's been. This word about perspective suggests, if I could use the Michelle Obama phrase, that when life goes lower, you need to go higher. This word of posture deals with the security of your choice, the stability of your choice, the unmovable posture of saying, before I go down, I'm going to escalate higher. You can't be flighty and wishy-washy when you're in these kind of moments, because your posture and your position is not just for you, but other folk are watching you. And you got to be clear. Because most people, and I'm watching you when things are going well, they're trying to see how you handle life when things ain't looking so good. This issue of this posture, this movement of getting to change my posture and checking my perspective means I got to be careful of even the things I say as well as the position I'm in. Because even when you can't see that things are looking well, you can't be talking defeated language. You see, some of our language sounds good as long as things goes well. But life is like an oscillating fan. That oscillating fan, in case you don't know what that is, Mama used to have a fan before we had air conditioner, and it's set in the window. And the air conditioner was you raise the window up. And there's a whole room full of us. So if you just got a stationary fan, everybody had to take 5 minutes turning the fan in their direction. But if you had an oscillating fan, come on, we had a little extra money in the day. You could pull that little button up, and the fan would go like this, and then go like this, and go like this, and then go like this. And an oscillating fan means I don't get air all the time, but I'm going to get it if I keep waiting on it. It means I may not have no air right now, but you got to know that sometimes when it ain't blowing on you, you just got to thank God and believe that somebody else might be getting blessed in this moment, and continue to hold on to your posture. Instead of you thinking negatively about what's going on, just say, if I'm not being blessed, thank God somebody else is. If I'm not getting healing, thank God I heard the sick report. Somebody else came out the hospital. If I can't get a breakthrough, thank God today I saw somebody get theirs in church. What am I saying? When you change your perspective, stop saying woe is me, and learn to bless God when the fan oscillates in somebody else's direction. Favor ain't always gonna be on you. Good times ain't always gonna come to you. Good situations won't always be at your back. But learn to give God praise for somebody else's blessings. Look at your neighbor and say, oscillate. Yes, favor doesn't always turn. But I learned the best part of favor. It's not when you're walking around talking about God healed me, God delivered me, God saved me. But I found out the real character of a Christian is not how you act when God is blessing you. And you singing, the Lord is blessing me right now. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way. The Lord is blessing me when things ain't happening for me. The character of a Christian shows how you act when the Lord is blessing you and not me. Because when he's blessing you and I can still praise him, means I've changed my perspective. When he's blessing you and not me, it means I don't believe that God is any less God. His favor just has not oscillated my way yet. Somebody say, it shall surely come. Yeah, it ain't come. I ain't getting no air right now. It's hot right now. It's muggy right now. It's difficult. But if I wait long enough, the fan is going to turn towards me. But let me just thank God that when he ain't blessing me, I'm sure somebody is getting a breakthrough. It's not that God ain't got enough for everybody. But sometimes you just got to learn to wait on the Lord. Can I get a witness? And sometimes God allows it to happen to check your posture and check your character and see if it's going to be worth the wait. God wants to see what kind of choice, not only that you'll make, but how long you're going to make that choice. Anybody can make a choice and say what I'm going to do right now, because all that requires is patience. But what do you do when 6 months have come and things still have not changed? That's when patience turns to long suffering. And some of you have gone from being asking for patience and saying, Lord, I'm in a long suffering mode now. And my question is, how long will you let things happen this way? Well, he says, not only am I going to change my posture, somebody say change my posture. He says I'm going to check my perspective. Somebody say check your perspective. Yes, because in your perspective, it means not only do you get higher, that is, climb in your prayer tower, but he says, watch to see what he will say to me. I know these are strange words, because sometimes we look at stuff and don't focus on what it said. But when I looked at this in my study time, I began to ask myself the question, how is he talking about seeing what he will say? Because it seems like he's got his words mixed up. Because out of the 5 senses of a man, when you see, it ain't based on what somebody says. You hear what somebody says. Some of y'all slow, so I got to break it down. You know, I would have been done 30 seconds ago. He didn't say, I will hear what you will say to me. Come on here. He says, but I will see what he will say unto me. This is an interesting phenomenon. But if you ever looked at what happens when a doctor checks a person who's not speaking correctly, I found out at a time that I was dealing with a problem that I thought that if I had a speech challenge and I thought that something was wrong because there was something wrong with speech, I thought the doctor ought to look in my mouth. So when I sat on the table and he said, let me check you out, I opened my mouth. I'm waiting on one of them popsicle sticks. Come on here. Y'all don't have the same doctors I used to have. You get that old stick they put in your mouth and you say, ah. So I'm looking for him to check, down my mouth. But he didn't get no stick and didn't go for my mouth. He went to the side of me. Come on here. And got some old scope and looked in my ear. Jesus, help me somebody. Because sometimes if you're not talking right, it could be because you ain't hearing right. I'm trying to close here better than I am, but y'all gonna make me go here. I said sometimes if you're not talking right, it's because you're not hearing right. So while you cussing people out based on what they said, it ain't based on what they saw, it's based on what they heard. And sometimes if you want to change your perspective and change your posture and get to a better place, you better check who you listening to. You better check who goes in your ear. You better check who's talking to you. And that's why I get to church. That's why I come to the master. That's why I come to hear a word. I don't care what kind of week I had. I don't care what kind of situation I've been in. I don't care how much money I don't have. I don't care how many people don't like me. I don't care how sick they say I am. I don't care how depressed I feel. I'm going to drag my depressed butt and lay on pew number 5 and hear a word. Because when I hear better, I see better. When I see better, I walk better. When I walk better, I talk better. When I talk better, I choose better. Somebody say better. But it's based on how you hear. That's what the Lord want to know. Can you hear me now? And sometime when I come to church, if I want to hear what he's going to say, because he may not be talking to me right then, but when I can see what he's doing in somebody else's life, then that gives me hope to be able to hold on for my own life. I can see it when I can't hear it. When I can't hear it, if I can see that God is still in the blessing business. How do you know? I give you 2 reasons I know. Reason number 1, he woke me up this morning. Reason number 2, he woke me up this morning. Reason number 3, he woke me up this morning. Reason number 4 and 5, he woke me up this morning.
I can say it 10 different ways if you need me to. Reason number 6, he woke me up this morning. Reason number 7, he woke me up this morning. Reason number 8, he woke me up this morning. I got 2 more in me. Reason number 9 is he woke me up this morning. Can I get a witness here? Is anybody here? No. Reason number 10. I don't have to tell you. You can tell me. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way. That's what it means in verse number 4. In other words, I can't live my life by your faith. I gotta charge my power pack. I told you change your posture. I told you gotta check your perspective. Somebody say number 3, charge your power pack. What does that mean? I gotta make sure my faith got enough juice to help me last until I see what he's gonna say to me. Is there anybody here that knows I can't live by your faith? I can't live by their faith. I can't live by mama's faith. I can't live by daddy's faith. I can't live by grandmama's faith. I can't live by Papa Evan's faith. I can't live by my brother Frank's faith. Sometimes I get to a place where I feel all by myself. But I've learned that God gave me faith for myself, and the just shall live by his faith. Shake your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, you got to live by your faith. You got to hold on by your faith. You got to trust God by your faith. You can't make it by your husband's faith. You can't make it by your wife's faith. You can't make it by your children's faith. You can't make it by your pastor's faith. I got just enough faith to help myself, but I can preach about a faith that you can have for yourself. Shake that neighbor's hand and say, do you have that kind of faith? Faith that moves mountains. Do you have that kind of faith? Faith that moves rivers. I see the invisible. I believe the impossible. I believe God's gonna break through any moment now. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I don't have results, but I got faith. I don't know when it's coming, but I do know that it's coming. I don't know when it's gonna come, but tell your neighbor, it shall surely come. Surely, my answer is on the way. My healing is on the way. My deliverance is on the way. My breakthrough is on the way. Somebody say it will surely come. Is there anybody that believes it's on the way? I dare you get on your feet and look towards heaven and say, I can't see it, I can't hear it, but I believe it by my faith. It shall surely come. My job is on the way. My finance is on the way. My fiance is on the way. Can I get a witness here? My spouse is on the way. My house is on the way. And sometimes you got to know God's blessings are not tangible. Shake another neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, God's best blessings, you can't see them anyway. So I want to let you know my joy is on the way. My peace is on the way. My love is on the way. My breakthrough It's on the way. Say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. I know he's all right. I know he's all right. It's quitting time. But can I say it one more time? I know he's all right. It will surely come. It will. 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 Sometimes you got to say it long enough till you convince yourself. I may be crying right now, but I ain't crying always. I may have a burden on me like now, Habakkuk said, but I'm not going to carry this burden always.